Hey, what's up? If you don't know me, I'm Ariel, and today I'm going to show you how to make a rug that's called a punch rug. These type of rugs have been getting pretty popular within the last couple months. I first saw it on like sneaker pages and like pages that do customs, and I slowly started seeing them popping up all over. I had my eye on wanting to make one for quite some time, I think since maybe May or June. Never really was able to find like the stuff or information I needed to know how to make one myself, and that's why I'm making this video, to try to help some of you guys out. If you're trying to make a rug, I know how it feels. It can be overwhelming trying to start, but we got this. I'm gonna show you how to do it. I also want to say I was able to find one really good tutorial that completely helped me so much and taught me how to make it myself. So I think his name on YouTube is Curry Goat, but yeah, super cool guy. I'll link his tutorial down below because it was a lifesaver, and I'd recommend you watch that also, especially if I don't really explain something clear enough or anything. I really was inspired to make a tutorial because Tyler the Creator reposted my picture. I don't know where I'm gonna put it, but he reposted a picture of me and my rug on his Instagram story. He was talking about finding tutorials on YouTube and kind of encouraging other people to go out and make some of their own. And I figured, hey, he reposted my picture, now I have to step up and make a tutorial and show people. So that's what I'm gonna do. And just a disclaimer, I've only made one rug before. That's all I've ever made. This is my second rug, so we're kind of gonna go through this together. I've learned a lot of stuff after making my first one, so I hope to kind of share this information with you. Let's just get started. Ariel from the future here, just interrupting to say, watch the whole video before you go out and get any supplies or even start your rug. I will say stuff along the way that could like change your outcome, if that makes sense. Just like, don't get ahead of yourself. I really recommend staying and watching the full video before you go to do anything. What you're gonna need, I'm gonna just go through the whole list of supplies now. To make the base of the rug, you're gonna need a fabric that's called monk's cloth. It's kind of hard to find, I'm not gonna lie, but I've had the best of luck finding it on Amazon. I know that there are some at like Joann's or maybe your local fabric store, but I've heard that not all types of monk's cloth work. Some are more rigid, I guess, and you're gonna need like a very flexible fabric that's resilient. I will link it below, the link I got it from. Just make sure to read reviews if you're ordering it online, because usually people will say this is not suitable for a punch rug. You're also going to need a punch needle, which is what we use to kind of make all the loops. I got it on Amazon, but I think that there are some stores like Michael's or Joann's that might sell it, not too sure. And with that comes a threader. Not all punch needles do come with threaders, so if yours doesn't, you will need a threader. This one came with it, so that was great. Also, you're going to need some yarn. A lot of people use wool yarn, but it was kind of hard for me to find. I wasn't able to find it at any craft store that is near me. I know you can order it online on like Amazon or wherever, but I didn't want to bother, so I made my previous rug using this acrylic yarn, and I'm going to make this one with acrylic yarn also. It turned out all right, it turned out good to me personally, so yeah. And you're just gonna wanna make sure that your yarn is not too thick. It has to be thin enough to go through this hole that you're gonna use in your punch needle. This yarn, you can see, is kind of thicker. I'm pretty sure it's 10 millimeters, so that's the size of yarn I'm going to be using for this rug I'm making now. Then you're going to need to make a frame for your rug, which is basically what you hook it on or mount it on while you're working. For the frame, you can either make it or buy it. I was looking to buy one before, but I wasn't really able to. So my dad and I made a frame for the previous rug I made and for this rug I'm making now. So I'll show you how to make the frame. I've also seen people use an empty canvas for it, like taking out the canvas and just using the frame that comes with it, the wooden backing, and just stapling it in. So if that's more practical for you, by all means use that. Lastly, once your rug is finished, you're gonna need glue. I'm just gonna use regular PVC, Elmer's glue, white glue, whatever. So you'll see that later. I didn't go out and get it yet, but you're also gonna need felt to finish it off, to secure it at the back. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Altogether, my supplies were under $100, including everything for the frame, all the yarn, everything. Not terrible, but it is kind of expensive if you're just trying to do it as a one-off, but you do end up with quite a nice finished piece. I do understand it can be a little expensive, so just a fair warning. That's it. I've done a lot of rambling, I feel like, so I'm gonna just get into it and show you the first couple steps in getting this thing started. So you're gonna wanna find an image that you want for your rug. It could be drawn up, it could be whatever. Have it like on your laptop. And if the image is words, you're gonna wanna mirror it. So you could do that by going into edit and create, edit, and just make sure that it is flipped. See, it was like this before, but I cropped it and I just mirrored it. So once you have your image, you're gonna wanna go onto a website called rasterbaiter.net. This is how you're gonna get your image to scale. I uploaded my flipped picture. And here is where you choose how large you want your logo to be based on the size of your monk's cloth or the size that your rug is gonna be. So I'm gonna make it 3 sheets wide. And you're gonna wanna put it to no effects so it just looks like your image. And from there you just print it out. This step, it's kind of one of the tricky steps. I've seen a bunch of different ways that people will do this. Some people use a projector, some people use a light box if they have it, but I literally don't have any of that. I'm gonna show you how I traced my stencil or whatever onto the monk's cloth. So here you can see the 3 pictures that I printed. I'm gonna tape these together, like overlapping them. And to attach them, I just fold one of the pages along this line here, like the margin that they created. Then I stick some masking tape on the back of this page and overlap them. You can see I have my big logo, 3 pages long, and I'm ready to trace it. It was tape my design up in my window using masking tape, and you don't have to worry about it like messing up your window, it comes right off. And then I tried to drag and position my monk's cloth over the logo to like somewhat the center. I don't know if it's perfect. I don't really care. You could see the logo is shining right through, so it's super easy to trace from here. And to trace it, I'm just using this random Crayola marker that I have lying around. I know people use all different types of things and like washable markers, but I just don't have any, and this works just fine. So here you could see me tracing the stencil that I have stuck up in my window. Pretty simple. You can press it back to kind of make the image more visible when you're tracing it. And yeah, I think this is pretty much the easiest way I've seen it done, and it works for me. But the only thing about it is that if you have a larger design or you're making a larger rug, it's not super practical. Now that the design is fully transferred, you're gonna wanna measure the same distance on each side just to make sure that like it looks even, and I'm gonna do the same on the bottom and create a bit of a border so I know like the constraints of which I have to kind of punch in and work in, and what will just be the border. I measured, I think, 1.5 inches from the farthest point on this side for the border, and 1.5 inches from the farthest point on this side, and I measured 5 inches up and 4 inches down, and I created a border that way. Now that you have your fun and fresh design on your monk's cloth, you're going to need to make the frame that you're gonna use to stretch out your fabric and guide you in making the rug. So luckily my dad is making mine. Love the guy, great, awesome. I'm gonna show his process in case like you have to make it yourself. So this is the frame I used for my last rug, just as an example. The supplies you're gonna need to make your frame is carpet tacks and wood, just like a flank of wood, and you can cut it at Home Depot, and the carpet tacks are also from Home Depot, and I believe altogether was under $10. So this is the large long flank of wood I have to make the frame for this rug. If you don't have all these tools, you can cut your wood at Home Depot, but just make sure to measure what size you need your frame in advance so you cut the right size. So these marks on the wood are the length, and then there will be some more here that are the width of my fabric that will go on each side of the rug. So now you can see I have just the 4 pieces of wood. They're all cut to size to perfectly fit my rug. Now my dad's just gonna screw them together, and then I'll show you how we attach the carpet tacks, which is what holds it in place. So the frame is all attached. Now we have our strips of carpet tacks that we're going to attach. I want to cut the carpet tacks to fit every side of your frame. And they go nail side up, and they have these big nails which you hammer down and attach that way. Carpet tacks are all cut to size, and you're just gonna nail in these nails that are sticking out, and that's it. Here you can see my monk's cloth with my design attached to the finished frame. To attach the monk's cloth, you just want to take the edgemost piece that you can, and you just hook it over these nails, and you're gonna stretch it until the design doesn't look super warped. From here, you can kind of just get started. Once you've reached the point that I just showed, where you have your frame all done and your monk's cloth is mounted to your frame and all stretched, then you're ready to start punching. And to start punching, you're going to need to thread your punch needle like it shows here. If you're just starting, just decide what you want to start on, whether it's your background, your border, whatever it is. I'm gonna start on my border because I think it would just be easier. So this is gonna be my background slash border color. And to thread your needle, you're just gonna take your punch needle here, and you can see there's a small little hole at the top of the punch needle. And then you're gonna take your threader and you stick the threader through the small hole that's in the needle, and then you stick it down into this tube, and all the way down, all the way down, all the way down. And now it's sticking out at the bottom of your punch needle. You're gonna take your yarn that you're gonna be using, and what you do is stick it through. Just stick it through that part that's hanging out at the bottom, and you just pull it, and it'll pop out of the top right through the hole. So from there, you're ready to start punching. Okay, so to start punching, you have your threaded needle here, and what you're gonna do is just stick it through the fabric where you wanna start, and then you turn over your frame to the other side. As you can see, this is a smooth side without the nails. And what you do is grab that piece of yarn that is threaded through your punch needle, and you pull it through all the way out to the other side. Then you turn back around your frame, and you're back onto the back working side. So from here, you kind of just punch in and out, in and out, and you're moving slightly forward each time, but make sure that you're not taking the needle out too far. Just take it out right above the fabric, and then you can punch it in again to make your next loop. And as you can see, I already kind of did the border, but if you were starting this out without any work on your cloth, you would just follow the line for the border that you made and kind of just work down from there. And as your border gets thicker, like mine is now, just make sure that when you're punching as close to the previous line that you made as possible, because that's what makes your rug look more full and fluffy. And you could see here while I'm punching, my hands are kind of getting poked by the nails that are sticking out to hold the monk's cloth in place. So it could be kind of helpful to put like an old t-shirt or a piece of fabric over it so that you have a comfortable place to rest your hands while you work. And here I'm holding the camera while I work, so I can't really show it, but typically you'd want one hand doing the punching with the needle and the other hand pressing down on the monk's cloth in the frame to kind of keep it taut, and it gives you a tighter punch and more control. And now as I'm getting to the corner here, I'm going to show you how to end your section that you're working on, whether you want to just move on to another section or change the color. So you're going to keep your punch in right where you want to finish, and you're going to pull it out slowly so that you're not pulling out the past work you've done, but you're just loosening up the needle from the thread as shown. And then you're just going to want to take some scissors and snip off this excess piece and you're good. So it's been 2 days and this is my progress so far. I've worked on it for a total of 7 hours. And you could see here, I've just been doing the background. From the back side, it looks pretty much the same. It's very linear, and I'm gonna just show you how to do these background pieces. It's probably the simplest part. So like I said before, you're gonna just be punching in a straight line, and you should be punching as close to the previous line you made as possible. So you're going to continue punching until you get to around the corner. And as you approach the corner, you continue punching. And then once you're at the edge or corner, you punch that last punch and then you turn your punching needle around so that the side that's scooped or has an open face is facing the direction that you're punching. And I tried to show it here, but just make sure that whenever you're punching, not only for the edge or corner piece, but whenever you're punching, just make sure that the open face of the punching needle is facing in the direction that you're punching. And I just wanted to show you what to do in case you make a mistake or you want to remove some of the punches you've done. So say these previous couple punches I did, I wanted to take out. All you have to do is pull the yarn and the punches will come right out. And once you remove the punches that you don't want, you kind of just have to position the yarn back to being at the right place in the needle. I'm struggling a bit because I'm only using one hand. But yeah, after that, you could just start punching again like normal. And it won't be noticeable that there are any like little holes or that you took out punches. Once your rug is done, like your new punches will cover it right up, so it's no big deal. So once you're done with like the background area and you're ready to move on to the more smaller details of your rug, like here and the lettering or whatever design you're doing, it's pretty much the same process, but I'm going to just show you. You're going to just start the same way you did with the background by punching it in, and then from the back end dragging through that small piece, and then you're ready to start punching. And to do that, I prefer to just outline the letter and to slowly go in and work until I get to the inside. As you can see, I just outlined the letter, and now I'm going to just continue to outline it until eventually I fill in the letter, if that makes sense. Unfortunately, I forgot to film me finishing punching the letters, but it's pretty straightforward. You're kind of just punching along whatever shape you have. And yeah, you just keep punching until the entire shape is filled in. It's not really that different from punching the background or negative space of the rug. After this clip that's playing right now, I didn't include any more footage of me actually punching the rug because I think it could be pretty repetitive. Also, it's kind of tricky to hold the camera and punch at the same time, but it's pretty straightforward regardless of whatever section you're doing. And it's up to you whether you want to punch in a way that's kind of tracing the outline of a shape, whether it's like the main focus of your rug, or in my case, it's the lettering, or punch in a more linear way, like I did with the background. But yeah, it's up to you, and it's not really different from anything I've shown. And you could see here that as I'm punching, I'm making sure that there's a lot of slack for the yarn and that it's not pulled too tight. So every couple of punches or section, I make sure to pull more yarn out of the, I guess, bundle of yarn that I'm using. Because if it's too tight, then the punches won't stay in the fabric. They'll just start pulling out automatically. So I finished the stripes and the lines or whatever. So all I have to do left is just fill in this negative space, like in between these lines. And yeah, I prefer to leave that to the end, like filling in any openings and letters and stuff, because I think that it just comes out better that way. Okay, so it's been a couple days and I finally finished my rug. I filled in all this negative space. Everything is done, and you can see that there's a ton of hanging strands on the back and on the front as well, which is like the side that's going to be showing. So now I'm going to show you how to finish your rug. So there are a ton of different ways you can finish your rug. Like, I've seen so many different ways that people do it, but I'm going to just show you the easiest way that I think. It's super quick. It's a way to seal it, and it kind of covers all the bases in terms of like loose ends and everything. And I'm pretty confident that it is a secure way to seal your rug. I know in the beginning of the video, I said you would need white glue to finish the backing of your rug. But since I've said that and filmed the intro and everything and finished my rug, I decided I'm gonna use a different method to seal my rug using just this Gorilla Glue spray. I haven't used this before, but I think that it should do the trick. And if not, then hey, you heard it here first. All you're gonna need is this Gorilla Glue spray and felt, like sheets of felt. I got this at Michael's and it was like $1 each. I got 2 because that's about the size of the back of my rug. Obviously you get more or less depending on what size your rug is and whatever you're making. At this point, your finished rug should still be on the frame. So what I'm going to do is just take it off. And then turn it around to the back side and straighten it out as best you can. It's kind of tricky. It's not going to stay down all the way. The edges are going to curl, but just try to keep it as like flattened as you can. So you're going to want to make sure that your felt fits exactly onto the backing of the rug. I plan to overlap mine slightly, like in the middle, just so it could fit perfectly. And I'm also going to have to trim just a bit off the top, because you can see it's going to hang over. So once your felt is all cut to shape, you can just take it off of the back of the rug. And then you're going to want to take your Gorilla Spray Adhesive. And you're going to spray the back of your rug and the face side down of the felt. Then just place them sticky sides together and just align it right. So when the tacky sides are together and aligned, right, like you can see here, you just press it down really well. And you can, of course, like pick up the edges and add more adhesive like where you think you need it. Once you're happy with the felt covering the back, you're gonna wanna spray the sides and the border of your back of your rug, and you're gonna attach them. And I just put down some felt on the border of the rug so that none of the spray would get on the floor. And you're gonna do the same to all the edges. So once all the edges are glued down, you're pretty much good. You just have to wait for it to dry. I'll probably wait like 20 minutes and then we could flip it over and I'll show you how to finish the front, which is the last step for finishing your rug. So while that's drying, I just want to give you some tips for that last step I just showed you. When you're spraying it, I recommend doing it outside because I don't know, I didn't think that through fully, but it kind of left some fumes in my room. Do it outside if you can. If not, like open a window. Also, I recommend you do it outside because it can get on the floor and I don't know quite how I'm gonna get it off the floor. It's not like a big deal. It is just like it left like a little residue on the floor, but like obviously you'd want to avoid that if you can. So if you can't go outside, I would put down like some plastic or just like paper bags or something under your rug before you spray it. Also, I recommend wearing gloves on both your hands while you like spray and press it down because I don't think it's like super toxic or anything. Maybe it is, but like I've got a bunch of residue on my hands and now I just have to pick it off and everything I touch is kind of sticky. So once the back of your rug is secured and dry, all that's left to do is cut off these hanging pieces from when you started a section and pulled through the yarn. All you have to do to get rid of these is just cut it right at the top and take it off, and it camouflages pretty well and it's secure to leave it. So I'm gonna just cut all these off and I'll be back. So once all those loose threads are snipped off, you're pretty much good to go. Like you could just end your rug here and it would be fine. But this is optional. I'm gonna just like go through and snip any of these loose parts that are in my rug, like just loose threads. I'm gonna snip those off too. Like here, you could see some here. You don't have to, and I probably am not gonna snip all of them off. Some people really like it and it does add character to your rug, but I just want a more neat finish. So I'm gonna just snip it. And because it's all secure on the back, you don't have to worry about your rug unraveling from this or anything. So now that I snipped all the loose little pieces that I wanted to, my rug is officially done. I personally am really happy with the way it turned out. Just to kind of give you some perspective on how big the rug is, this is a shoe, but it's about 26, I think, this way, and 17.5 inches this way. I hope you found this tutorial really helpful and that you were able to make your own rug. If so, please tag me on Twitter or Instagram. Both will be linked below because I'd love to see it, and it's so cool knowing that like people could see this and make a rug of their own. Like, I think that's awesome. Of course, all of my supplies, links, resources, other tutorials I watched will be linked below. Some of the supplies might be sold out by now because I know that like they're in high demand. Also, just want to say that all together making this rug took me about 15 hours, give or take. Just a heads up so you know like how much time you're going to be investing before you start and you're not like taken aback, because when I was making my first rug and it took me like 10 hours, I was very taken aback. So just like forewarning, it will take you a long time. But thank you for watching and letting me teach you how to make a rug. I really hope it helped, and I'll see you in the next video. Laters.